Welcome to Squirrel, the podcast for distracted writers, hosted by Candace J. Thomas and Jody L. Milner. Welcome to the Squirrel Podcast. I'm Jody and...
I am Candace.
Hi, Candace.
Hi.
We're still in Cupid season.
Oh, you're chipper all this.
I am rising to the occasion.
You're grabbing the energy.
I'm grabbing the energy.
Okay.
We are solidly in Cupid season, and I believe this episode is going to be immediately before Valentine's Day, and we thought, what would be better than talking about writing kissing?
Yeah, I'm really excited about this episode. Kissing's just it's a fun topic because it makes people uncomfortable, and also it's just, I think it's kind of funny. Anyway, go on.
It makes writers uncomfortable, which
it makes people uncomfortable.
Here. Well, and watching it, it does. It makes people uncomfortable.
Especially those people that just don't. I would say neurodivergent, maybe. I'm not sure. My kid can't stand kissing scenes. Can't stand it when people are kissing in general, anywhere close. I don't know. It's just
weird. And my neurospicy kid, every time a romance or anything like relationship happens on the screen, he throws the book on the floor and he's like I'm out.
No,
I can't do this.
Is this a kissing book?
This is a kissing book. Yeah, he's just like, nope, not my kind of thing.
That's interesting. So I'm excited to talk about this.
So I think talking about this as writers is important because I think every single writer eventually is going to run into a point where they're like, I think this story needs a kiss.
Yes.
And the first time, you never forget the first time you had to write a kiss. You never forget your first time.
Do you remember your first kiss?
I remember my first real kiss.
Yes, your first real kiss.
It's a fuzzy, weird memory, and I'm not even entirely sure who it was with at this point, which is sad. I definitely remember writing my first kiss much clearer than my first actual kiss.
I remember writing my first kiss. I do remember my first kiss, and it was surprising and it was awful. So, those
it's
type of
definitely
things.
not what they chalk it up to be. But why? Why should having a kiss be something we want to maybe encourage?
I think that in genre in general, a kiss is a specific moment in your life. As I said, you remember your first kiss, or no, you probably don't. I remember most people remember their first kiss, and it is one of those moments that marker in your life. So if you take your novel and if you have a kiss in your book, it's going to be one of those marker moments. It's going to be one of those chapters that people come back to.
Depending on how well you write it.
Well, and that's true.
If you do a terrible job, they might come back to it.
That's
for
just like
reasons.
A real kiss. If you do a terrible job, you're not getting any more. So...
Well, and I think including that, it is concrete evidence that a relationship, like a first kiss between characters, is this indicator that the relationship has entered a new phase. Mm-hmm. That they're no longer just friends or just someone that you can confide in. It's somebody who you're going to be romantically involved with. And I think that's a big flag moment.
Yes, exactly. And with kissing, there's vulnerability. So all of a sudden there is change in the trajectory of your novel. It's going to, just in real life, now you have questions that need to be answered, or the questions that are now answered. There's going to be, that's what the reader is going to look for after that moment. What is happening now?
Sure. I think the real reason we should put them in there is because readers like it.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, readers like it.
Most readers.
Well, it's needed in all genres. The whole spectrum of genre out there is going to encounter this kind of love connection. And readers are going to look for that. That's true, though.
So just for funsies, I think we should go through kisses from the most mild and innocent and working our way up.
Oh, sure.
Because it's a language. Different kisses mean different things.
That's true. That's true.
Do you want to start?
Yeah, sure. Something like kissing on the hand would be the good, I don't know. Is that an introduction to some kind of respect? I don't know. You tend
I think it's playful.
Do you?
I think it also can be a little bit mocking or a little, it depends on your character and your genre.
Or your story. Because I look at it more of as a respect thing. So if, let's say, you're doing a fantasy and you have to kiss the hand of a royalty, I don't know. There
That's
you go.
respect.
It's respectful. So just one of those, but you find it as a playful thing.
Well, think
Or
about the silly
teasing.
boyfriend who's trying to do a sweeping romantic gesture, and he sees you, and he goes down on a knee and grabs your hand, and he gives a little peck on the back of the hand. He's like, "My princess." And is he doing it because he thinks that is showing you respect? No, he's doing it to be playful.
Okay.
He's doing
All right.
it to show like he's head over heels and possibly doing it to be playful.
So it's kind of like a flirtation, another thing, that a tease.
Like a little bit of a tease.
Okay. That's interesting. I didn't view it that way. I mean, I'm glad that we have different views, of course. Oh, we always do. But that, yeah, to me, I mean, I guess it has a lot of different meanings. So cool. Very good. You, what do you got?
So if we're going to move up from a kiss on the hand, I would say a kiss on the cheek would be next.
Okay.
Where it is a technical kiss, but in many countries that
That's
is
a
a
greeting.
casual greeting among friends.
Yeah.
And depending on the country, it's either 1 or 2. And there's a couple where I swear it's 3. Have I found this out the hard way? Yes.
3? Which country? My Argentinian friend, I'm always kissing on the cheek. Like,
Yeah, and
we always
that
kiss
is common greeting,
Just
and
one.
it's usually just once. It's usually starting on the left.
Mhm.
And
Project
if,
Runway, they do 2 kisses.
Mhm. And if you mess that up, if you go left and they also go left, it's awkward.
Surprise!
So you try to remember which way to start or surprise.
Which one
Um,
had 3, did you say?
I'm sure there isn't one.
It's just somebody wanted something else.
It
They
might
wanted a
have
little
been
action.
something silly.
Very good. On this, the kiss on the cheek, yeah, it's a build up to a moment, I think. I think a kiss on the cheek, regardless of greeting, if you're doing it as some kind of starter, like, I think that it's the build up to something.
Well, you definitely have to be friends first. Like, yes, you will do a greeting salutation kiss, but you're not technically touching them
Okay.
for a greeting kiss in
Right.
most countries. I mean,
Right.
your cheeks might brush, but you're not actually making an effort to make both cheeks get lip. Like,
Right.
it is
So
an
if
air
you're doing,
kiss.
yeah, let's move to the romantic one, though.
But if it is a romantic one, I think it is
what would that mean?
displaying an indication. Like, I am interested in possibly moving our relationship closer to the next steps.
Okay. I think it's also another part of the respect thing, a respectful kiss on the cheek. I don't know, that you give to your grandmother or,
Yes.
you know, or to say an apology of some sort. I remember in Sherlock, I tend to go back to Sherlock a lot, but Benedict Cumberbatch kisses, you know, the girl who plays Molly as an apology when he makes her feel bad for one point or another.
Well, and kissing for his is strictly transactional.
Yeah, that's true.
But kissing for most other people is never transactional. It means something.
Okay. All right. So let's move to, well, here's a funny thing, because you have in the notes peck on the lips. I don't know what a peck is. I mean, a peck is like just gentle touching, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's the same as what you would do on a cheek. It's just on the lips.
Okay. It's not planting one on somebody.
No, it would be quick. It would be in out. Like, you need to show affection in public, but you don't want it to be gross.
Okay. Peck for me, yeah, that's an invitation. So for more, I
It's like a passing shot. Like, you know, you're already in a committed relationship. You want to show you love each other. One person's got like their hands in the sink and they're washing dishes, and
That's
you lean
true.
back and you give a little peck, and it's
Yes.
cute.
Yeah, and that's true. And I'm glad that you bring it up. But in a novel, I don't want to read a peck. I don't want to get there.
No.
That doesn't exist in a novel.
I'm sure it exists.
Why would
But
anybody want to that?
It's
a peck
cute.
on the.
You're not going to write a paragraph about it. You're going to have a sentence like they had, you know, drive-by kissing.
I don't even know. Drive-by kissing. I guess so.
I think it would be cute.
because I think then we have open mouth, but I think that there needs to be that plant that
We
going
did not
for-
include plant on the list.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
plant
I
on
did
the
not
list.
have the vocabulary for
They-
that one.
It's just the full frontal impact, you know, that you both reciprocate. You know, you're like this one, and
So would you
everyone
define
knows.
that like the chaste wedding kiss would be a plant? Because that one can border into open mouth depending
Right.
on the couple.
Yeah, I guess yes. I would say yes, because it doesn't move into open mouth until it does. You know,
As do
if
most
it's a really
things.
good kiss, everyone should see my hands here making these gestures.
She's just bumping her fists, so don't get
because
any
it's
ideas.
It's planting that moment, I guess. I don't know. So,
It's more solid. It's definitely a connection. You know it's happened.
mhm. Yeah, so open mouth.
Open mouth. That's a serious show of affection. Like, you're in a committed relationship if that is the exchange. Clearly, you both have to have trust. You both have to be available emotionally for that moment. Like,
Yeah.
it's not something that you can just casually be like, meow, and kiss, and
Right.
meow. Like an open mouth kiss, you're going to take a moment to spend that time.
And with your characters as well.
Oh,
Both
yeah.
of them, even if you're coming from one perspective.
That deserves a whole 3 sentences.
Right. Really, I hope so.
Or a
Jeez.
paragraph.
Because that's an acceptance of both partners there when you get that little, I don't know, slip of the tongue or touch of the teeth or whatever.
Oh, I hate it when the teeth touch.
Right. Nobody wants to read that, guys.
Yeah,
just
don't
know
include
that.
that.
Nobody wants to read that. And then I mean,
Well,
obviously
and
you go
things
something
just
else.
escalate from there. Like, I think it's safe to say if you've gone into open mouth kissing, and this is going to depend on the author, the genre, and the heat level of the book, it might continue forward into more. It might continue to a closed door. It might continue to a fade to black. It might continue to a full out encounter between the two people.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said,
Yeah.
an invitation,
Yeah.
The beginning of something.
And we're not writing sex scenes here, everyone. So we're just starting
Not
with
yet.
kiss.
We're not doing that episode. I don't
I
think
wouldn't even
Candy
know
could
what to
handle
say.
it.
No, I know that is not in my wheelhouse.
That's
I
where
don't
the
know how to.
Guest
I don't have a
would-
skill set for that. I'm sorry. I know it's maybe, yeah, that's a little too intimate for me, I think, reading what, yeah. I'm done. Sorry.
We just
I'm too
hit
blushy.
Candace's comfort level right there.
Yes. Sorry. Yes. Okay. Very good.
I would love to talk about our experiences writing our first kiss, because for me, it was very, very memorable.
Okay. You tell me.
All
Tell me
right.
what-
So first book, and during like the middle of the first book, the main character talks to the love interest and says, "If we get through this, I owe you a kiss." And then I finished the rest of the book and I did not include a kiss. And I didn't realize this until I'm doing my proofreading read, where I'm like, I made a promise and I did not fulfill that promise because I was
every reader is going to know that
Oh, I
you
know.
did not.
And I'm like, I have made a promise and I have to fulfill it. But I was also really, really squeamish about writing a kiss scene because I had never done it and I didn't want it to be completely awful. And so like I immediately contacted my publisher. I'm like, I am so sorry. I need to insert a kiss. And I would, help me do this before we go live with this book because I don't want people throwing the book against a wall. And I just remember sitting and agonizing at the computer. I'm like, how do I do this? And it was so awkward. So I'm just like, should I read reference material? I feel like that's dangerous. Should I,
Should I watch a bunch of rom-coms? I mean,
should I, and you're like fake kissing your hand. You're like, what, how does this feel? What am I supposed to be describing here? And it was just so awkward because like, you don't exactly get a manual on this.
Well, you don't, but I didn't think that. So writing my first kiss was not hard. I didn't have that weird, awkward moment. In my first novel, there is a specific kiss that happens halfway through the book. That's a big like pinnacle moment in the whole novel. And I didn't have any. It wasn't hard to write the kiss because I wasn't specifically writing the kiss. I was writing what was happening, like the emotions that you're feeling, what was in her head at that moment and the impact of that. It wasn't so much of the action of, or I don't know.
And this could be my neurospicy brain being like, I don't really know how to capture this in a logical way that makes me happy because it's not logical. Nothing about kissing makes sense. Let's squish our lips together. It's fun. I'm like, why? I don't understand this.
I think it's so much fun.
And so maybe that's what made it different for me, because weirdness about touch in general.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess so. I think I'm going to add, this is going to be weird, but going back to our first kiss in like natural kisses, or your first like real kiss, it was awful. Why? Because here we are, we're 9th grade and nobody knows what they're doing, right?
Famously.
And I thought I was the bad kisser. So that I made it a point that I would not be the bad kisser.
Wow. Please say you practiced.
But yeah, maybe.
You don't need to confess, but your face just said everything.
We don't need to go into that part. But that's maybe one of the reasons why I guess I experimented, but I wanted to understand a little bit more of what would make a kiss better. That's true. And I think people do that. They experiment a little bit with their lips touching other lips to figure out exactly what makes that magic, right? Seriously. So maybe that's why I didn't have a problem with writing the kiss, because I am the good kisser, just so you know, everyone.
We have that officially.
Yes, I can prove it.
on the tape now.
You're dangerous enough. But.
Right.
Anyway.
Well, and so the first time I did it was super, super awkward, but now I've done several, and I think it's like the first time you do anything that you're really uncomfortable with, it's always going to feel a little off, and then you get used to it, and then you feel like you're like, okay, and then it's only up from there, because once you're comfortable, then you can take a lot more freedoms and liberties with how you do it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like the first time you write your first chapter of the first time you ever tried to write a book.
Yeah. And
you see that blank page, you're like, this is a book and it needs to be amazing. And you can't do the first chapter because you're like, everything rides on this.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
then you get used to it and you realize you can edit and write it later and continue to fix it because that's how this works.
The thing I learned from writing kissing scenes is that I tend to like to start with a kiss. I mean, I don't know why. I'm not a romance writer. I can't write more than just, basic kissing and whatever. But I think that there needs to be a period of rest. There has to be a build up to this moment. And if you bring it too soon, you're giving the audience what they want. And I was doing that. And I'm embarrassed that I did
Heaven
that.
forbid giving the audience what they want.
Well, yes, I think that it would have been a lot more fulfilling to
build the tension.
Right. Did you ever watch BBC's North and South?
Nope.
It has the best kiss in the entire everything.
I will have to believe
Oh,
you.
you will believe me. Oh my gosh. It's really good. And you watch.
I mean, is
all
it
of
like
that.
a Regency flavored kiss?
Oh no. Okay. like Richard Armitage goes for it. And it is
Ooh,
amazing.
I like him though.
Oh my gosh. Yes,
I
you
do
like it.
Richard Armitage.
Oh yeah. He goes for it. So anyway, that is my go-to. But you watch. I mean, there's a lot of drama that goes on throughout the entire thing. There's 4 hours of this. And you finally get to that moment. And I rewatched that scene so many times because it's magic. It's magic. So if you could do a good kissing scene, people are going to go back to it. That's awesome. That's what you want.
Well, and I was so surprised. I have an adorable niece who was my very first fan. And I'd put this kiss in almost as an afterthought. And I knew that she had finished reading the book. And so the next time we were together, I'm like, hey, what was your favorite part? Because I'm a writer. I'm like, please stroke my ego. And she's like, oh, it was the kiss at the end. And I had no idea. Like, for me, I'm like, this was an accident I had to fix because I made a promise and it felt important. But I had no idea that would have been the moment that she's like, it was the kiss. I'm like, nailed it.
That's
yes,
amazing.
I didn't screw up. This is amazing.
That's fantastic. So, yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, let's just look at writing. Okay, Kiss 101, right?
Kiss
Here we go.
101.
So, what's physically important during that moment?
Well, I think you touched on this before, where it's easy to be carried away with trying to describe the touch element of the lips coming together, or where the hands are, or what the bodies are doing. It's easy for that to be the first thing you go to, because in a lot of our thing, that's obviously what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what's more fulfilling and more rewarding is what you were touching on earlier, is this emotional journey of what that kiss means.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And so I feel that when you're just starting out, and this might just be me, but like you're like, oh yeah, I just need to describe this kiss in purely physical terms because that's a kiss. And we forget all of this emotional journey behind it. And so I think all the senses need to be included. Inner dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the thought, the spark of panic. What does this mean? Like all of this thing that's going inside your character's head, like in some form should come out on the page.
Yes.
Because the moment should be important.
And the build up, not only the entire story, but the scene, that moment before the kiss happens is so critical to make sure that you write that correctly, have the right tension, have the right emotional balance before their lips touch.
Well, yeah, there has to be almost not a contract per se, but there has to be an agreement that happens, and it might not be verbal. Mm-hmm. It might be an interchange of glances. Mm-hmm. It might be, I mean, consent comes in many, many forms, and it should be enthusiastic. It should be, you know, clearly they're both wanting it, and we should be feeling that buildup, which is, you know, all sorts of yummy. And this is where metaphor can be your friend if done properly. I mean, be very careful about what you're likening parts to, because
my brain doesn't go there.
A bad metaphor is going to pull readers out of the moment, but a really good one is going to touch on this emotional aspect and this otherworldly, like, we're going beyond touch. At this moment. So metaphors can handle that really nicely.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. I think, I mean, we talked about the emphasis and how important the buildup is in kissing, but I think it's important to also evaluate the stakes. Exactly what is the emotional consequence after the characters kiss? What have you planned, and will that still be, you know, fulfilling to your audience?
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
So I feel like if you've never done a kissing scene before,
yes, what should
go
we do?
into your reference. Like, what are your reference materials? Candy loves watching North and South.
Sandra Bullock.
Clearly,
oh yeah, no.
Richard Armitage kissing is highly inspirational.
Please, everyone, I'll put this on the blog.
Do
it's just so good.
But like, if you've read a book that has had just nicely done kisses, like break it down into what made it nice. Like, how did they capture that moment? Mm-hmm. And I found, so I started reading Laini Taylor's Daughter Smoke and Bone, which she's incredible as it is. And so I'm thoroughly enjoying just how she puts stories together. But like right in the beginning, we have a character who has been through kind of a bit of a breakup. And so she describes a kiss that she's remembering, which is a nice way of saying, I've moved on from this, but it shows us really difference. And so I wanted to share it because it is nice. Ooh, and I'm hoping the language still stays technically PG.
Okay.
The thoughts behind it, possibly not.
I don't care. Go ahead.
But it's nice. It's done really nicely. So she's talking about the kiss. She says, until recently, she wouldn't have resisted it. She would have risen on tiptoe and licked his pout-puckered lower lip, licked it languorously, and then taken it between her teeth and teased it before losing herself in a kiss that made her melt against him like sun-warmed honey.
Oh, that is so
Isn't
sweet.
that lovely?
Mm-hmm.
I love the sun-warmed honey. Mm-hmm. Like just melting and sweetness and playfulness. Mm-hmm. Like it captures her personality. It captures that they were very much together in a way that she thought was special at the point where the kisses happened. Mm-hmm. So I thought it was lovely.
That is lovely.
And try saying languorously.
Lower lip licked it
that
languorously.
That was
thanks, Laini, for that.
I should have practiced that a little more.
It's okay, but you mentioned metaphor with the sun-warmed honey. I think that's lovely.
Well, his pout-puckered lower lips isn't metaphor, but it's an interesting description of the kissy face. Pout-puckered.
Pout-puckeredness. Yeah, I mean, again, for the exercise that I would mention is find a kiss scene that you admire just and watch it. I'm talking about any kind of rom-com or whatever, and write it in your own words. If you can take that physical thing that you're seeing and translate it to some scene on the page, maybe you'll understand more of the mechanisms or the mechanics that make that kiss. So I find a very fascinating and a fun writing exercise if you want to explore on making your kisses better.
Well, and if you happen to be in a relationship with somebody who is willing to be helpful in this moment, honestly interview them about, hey, what does it feel like for you for a kiss? Like, what comes to your mind? Like, tell me your experience, because you might be writing a main character that is not you. Like, it's a different gender, it's a different life experience. So getting somebody else's take on what a kiss experience might be like is helping you see it from a different angle, which I think is really helpful.
I think it also, I mean, you talk about interviewing. I think you should experiment and see with your partner and say, how does this feel? How does this feel? Do you like this? Do you like that? That's where my brain goes. Your goes to like, let's interview and write down the words. And I'm like, let's practice.
Again, the difference between our spiciness right there.
Right.
Absolutely.
Okay. What are your
my closing thoughts, and I kind of harped on a touch of this, is like, the first time you do anything new is going to be uncomfortable. It's okay. Embrace the suck. Wow, that was a bad pun. But yeah, keep trying. Like, you're destined to have it not be great the first time you try. But that doesn't mean you're bad at it. That just means you haven't had enough time to play with the idea to learn how you like to do it.
Gotcha. I would say kissing is fun. And it should read as fun. It should read as that splendid moment that you can remember forever. The reader can remember forever. You need to just keep the readers in mind, maybe, to go back to these scenes. So make it worth it. You don't need to go into like huge, gross details. It's all about the meaning and intent that needs to be satisfying the audience.
Absolutely. And on that note, this has been Squirrel. The slightly awkward conversation about kissing.
You don't need to make them blush. How about that? You don't need to make people blush, but you do you want to leave them with wanting a second
kiss. Make them
kiss.
Feel something. No problem with that.
The end. Very good. This was a good episode. It was fun.
This was fun.
I think it's a little kissing, just talking about kissing is a little messy.
It's just as messy as kissing. Messy and awkward and unpredictable.
So funny. Okay, next week, what are we talking about?
Current trends in romance.
Current trends in romance. That's right. It's going to be fun. I'm really excited, actually. So both Jody and I mean, as I said, we're not really romance writers, but I tend to write in the romantic comedy era. And we're going to talk about that. So the changes that happen in romance writing. All right.
If you have liked anything you've heard today, remember we have a Patreon or a Buy Us a Coffee. If you want to be notified of future podcasts, don't forget to like and or subscribe, or both. We won't judge.
Please do both. Okay, thanks everyone.
All right, have a good one.
Thank you for listening to the Squirrel Podcast for the Distracted Writer with Candace J. Thomas and Jody L. Milner. Please like and subscribe to our podcast for updates and new episodes, and find more information at our website, squirrelpodcast.com. Stay distracted, everyone. Welcome to Squirrel. I'm Candy.
And I'm not paying attention. I was watching the waves.
Yeah? Okay. This is Jody, everyone. Do I need to start over?
Yes. I think I found our outtake.